Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to open us up with Fatiha. We have about a minute here before we get started, but I will open us up with a Fatiha and then move into the presentation of the topic today. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. All right. So again, assalamu alaikum to everyone and welcome back to the 9-point plan, a living document for thriving communities. And we do have a statement that we need to read, and it is a AM 360 disclaimer. So I'm going to read that before getting into our topic for today. The content of the American Muslim 360 Broadcasting Network is intended for general information and community service purposes only. Views expressed by hosts or guests are their own and not necessarily the official position of AM 360 or the parent corporation Community-Wide Shore Conference Incorporated, CWSC, or its board of directors. Content is not designed to provide specific or personal medical, financial, legal, counseling, or other professional advice. No liability, explicit or implied, shall extend to hosts, AM 360 or CWSC. We encourage you to consult an advisor for your specific circumstances. With that statement, we now can move into the topic that we're going to cover today. Inshallah, this will be also a stimulating discussion that help us to be able to move into really building and envisioning the community in which our leader, Imam Warith Deen Mohammed, has advised us, encouraged us to build here in the United States, following the best of the Quran and the best of the life example of Prophet Muhammad, holding on to those guidance, we will be successful as a community. So today's topic is centering around being public witnesses and our civic presence, right? Our civic responsibility. And I think this is timely. This episode is timely today because of the November 4th national election in this country. So we are witnessing shifts in politics here in this country, and it really is an obligation of us all to participate in that process, as well as be civically involved at our local level. Our masjid needs to be recognized as and our community needs to be recognized as an organization and group that politicians need to come to and seek advice and seek guidance and really solicit our input in a lot of the policies and recommendations and et cetera that they are developing for community life from a civic responsibility. So today's topic will cover those areas, and inshallah, I plan to tie it in to Imam Muhammad's 9-point plan, where he is highlighting really the need for us to call the general society to embrace al-Islam, right? To embrace the principles, the foundation that allows every human being to walk into walk in their excellence. Basically, this inshallah is what this conversation today is to at least solicit and garner some additional comments from folks that are listening. So again, assalamu alaikum, and welcome back, family. This is the 9-point plan, a living document for thriving communities. My name is Omar Mohammed, and in this series, we're uncovering how Imam Warith Deen Mohammed vision provides a blueprint for resilient, spiritually grounded, and socially powerful communities in today's society. We have already explored the masjid as an anchor, education as an infrastructure, and economic independence as an engine for community sustainability. And today, inshallah, we turn to our public role, our presence and our witness, right? And this episode is called Public Witness and Civic Presence. Like all episodes, we start off by honoring our past. And we do that because if we don't know where we have come from, there's no way that we can envision our future. We will just repeat, the challenges that has burdened many communities since the beginning of man. So we always have to reflect on our past, pull best practices from learned experiences and be able to apply them. And infer them, right, to new circumstances and situations. So this looking back on our past and honoring our past is that reflection point in this discussion, to be able to look at historically what has been instructed for us and how we can tap into that, and then be able to realize that not only in the present but in the future. So Imam Warith Deen Mohammed taught us, and really what I am describing here is dawah. It really is dawah. So when Imam Muhammad talked about dawah, he expressed this effort, this movement, as more than just words. He really expressed it as living an example, being of service, and being excellent, right? Showing up in our excellence in the public square, in the public space. Because if we're trying to call people to al-Islam and we're not, following the tenets of this religion, and I'm not talking about the ritual aspects. I'm not talking about the ritual aspects, right? Because most of our ritual aspects are done in private, right? It's not done in the open, the public space. What the Imam here is pointing to when he said that we should walk in our excellence in the public square, he is talking about our character, our moral disposition, the way that we engage and interact with folks, right? So we're doing that in the best manner. We're living our al-Islam out loud. I was having this conversation with well, actually, this was something that I was in a meeting and I heard a brother state this, and I said, man, he is right when he made this statement. He said a lot of times when you're traveling and you're in the airport and you know that the airport is noisy, it's bustling, it's busy, and you see people, Muslims in a corner with their prayer rug spread out, trying to pray. You cannot concentrate on your prayer and give your full attention to your prayer with a whole lot of external noise and conversation and bustling of an airport. You can't do it. So basically what the brother was saying is that sometimes we just want to be a show. To live our al-Islam, always have our al-Islam on our sleeves, right? If we're living this religion, people recognize that we are different. When we walk into a space, how we talk, how we carry ourselves, the conversations we hold, the way that we engage difficulties, or the way that we engage a process. People see that we are different, and we don't have to say that we're Muslim. People are aware of Al-Islam presence in this country, and they know when a Muslim is among them. The other thing that I hear a lot too is that sometimes you're not aware that people are watching you. You're not. You could be in the grocery store, anywhere, and people will be behind you or they'll be in front of you, and they'll just ask you, "Are you Muslim?" And you say, "Yes, I'm Muslim." And they say, "I could tell. I could tell the way that you carried yourself, your beard, or whatever outer presence that you have, they can pick up on, right?" And a lot of times the next comment that comes behind that is, "I know some Muslims and they don't act like you." That's usually the next comment that comes after that. After people ask you, "Are you Muslim?" and you acknowledge that you are Muslim, and then they say, "Well, I know some Muslims and they don't act like you." So we don't want to be in the public space, right, showing up like other folks show up. We should be different. We should be standing out from other people. This is what Al-Islam does for us. Al-Islam refines our character. It refines our moral disposition. It refines us. It makes us more excellent, right? We're trying our best every day to live up to the standard that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam set for us. We're trying every day to achieve that and establish that every day. And every day is a struggle for us because this world pulls on our character. It pulls on our moral disposition. So it's a continuous striving, right? This is our personal jihad. So that's what the Imam was actually pointing us to, is that we are to, when we think of dawah, right? A lot of times, yes, and dawah is calling people to this way of life. Yes, it is. But the greatest way, for me, the most, I think the way that we can call people to this way of life is how we demonstrate Al-Islam in our life. Right? This weekend, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the existence of our masjid in Charleston, South Carolina. Our masjid was established in there's some differences of opinion. 1973, some say 1975, but most of the believers in the masjid, agrees with it was established in 1975 under the leadership of Imam Warith Deen Mohammed, right? And I believe those other 2 years probably, they had a temple in 1973, but most of them aligned with our community was established here in Charleston in 1975. So this year, this weekend, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of establishing Al-Islam in Charleston, South Carolina, where majority of the Muslims from the African continent was brought over here enslaved to the shores of Charleston. Somewhere between 40 to 60% of enslaved individuals were Muslim. And they came to the shores of Charleston. And that is documented historical fact. So to say that we have been in existence in the Charleston area for 50 years is an amazing achievement. But I bring that up to say that talking with a lot of the pioneers in our community, they talked about their commitment to Al-Islam and promoting this way of life, right? Even back in the 60s and in the 70s, when they say a lot of people was not, had an affinity for Al-Islam. And they were talking about the sacrifices that they made to promote this religion. And this again is honoring our past. the pioneers are the shoulders in which I stand on. And other people who are my age and younger, we stand on those pioneer shoulders, on the foundations that they have laid and set to spread al-Islam in the local community, in the excellence that they have established. So calling the general society to brace al-Islam. So for Imam Warith Deen Mohammed, may Allah, forgive him of his shortcomings and bless him for all the good that he has established in this society. He said that dawah is meant to model our faith in civic life, to model our faith. I can't, I don't have any other way to express that. To model our faith in civic life on our school boards, in our governmental workplaces, in our neighborhoods, right? And he said this specifically. We invite others to this way of life by showing people our life, a clean life, a moral life, a life of service to humanity. This is the specific language that Imam Muhammad expressed this ideal and concept of dawah, that it is to model our faith in the civic life. So he emphasized that dawah is not forcing people, not argumentative, not being superior to others, but it is a vehicle of being a witness of showing others the best of what al-Islam has contributed and has allowed us to manifest into, to develop into. Because this is a growing process. I don't care if you have been Muslim 70 years, if you've been Muslim 30 years, if you have been born into al-Islam, this is a progression. Every day we work on refining ourselves, bettering our situations and our conditions. It's an everyday struggle. So to ground us in the Quran, what the Quran around this idea of being a witness, allowing this for our way of life to show up in our civic responsibilities. The Quran in Surah 16, ayat 125, it say, invite to the way of your Lord with wisdom, beautiful preaching, and argue with them in the best of manner. In the best of manner. So not to force and be argumentative and show our superiority, but to show the wisdom of this religion, the beautiful practice and how it resonates with our human character, our moral disposition, right? These are the points that we want to stress in society. Now, I want to move into the present, how we show up in the present, right? Today. And I hope many of us, and I know because al-Islam teaches us to be civically aware, civically responsible, and engage the process in your local level, your local level. So I know that everyone that is listening to this program, that we went out yesterday and we exercised our civic role and responsibility in this society, and whichever way we voted, we participated in that process, because that is our civic responsibility of being members of this country. Today, dawah includes our civic engagement, because we are doing dawah when we engage in civic responsibility, participating in democracy, right? I just said that we went out yesterday, and we participated in the democratic process of this country. We serve on community boards. We serve on school committees. We run nonprofits, and we're leaders of those nonprofits. And we serve in the public space. We're in government. We're in those agencies that serve humanity and serve the community. So from an urban planning language, right? Because I'm coming from an urban planning perspective here when I'm presenting this 9-point plan as a living document. This is civic presence. The idea that healthy communities participate in shaping their surroundings, right? So if we're talking about our masjids being anchors, our educational institutions being infrastructure, becoming economically independent, then we must participate in the governmental structure that's set up, that governs, that dictates how communities are established in this country. We have to be involved in the local government entities. So let me say this again. The urban planning language for this episode is that what we're talking about is civic presence. That the idea that healthy communities, thriving communities, because that's where that's the vision we have, moving from surviving communities to thriving communities. So the idea that healthy communities participate, thriving communities participate in shaping their surroundings. And Imam Muhammad, may Allah bless him, told us, be known in your contributions, right? We don't have to say and always express what it is that we're doing. How we show up is a testimony to our contribution to this society. That means if we want to say in housing policy, education funding, public safety, food justice, right? Climate resilience. If we want to say in all of these arenas, all of these topics that have direct impact on our quality of life, then we have to show up. We have to show up and be part of the conversation around housing, around education, public safety, food equity, climate resilience. We have to show up. So some modern examples of dawah through presence, right? Through us showing up, right? And these are examples across this country. Muslim educators leading public schools, Muslim chaplains in the hospitals, universities, and in our penal system, Muslim activists working on environmental justice, civil rights, health equity, interfaith coalitions for social good, Muslims voting, running for office, and serving on community boards. And we're winning those offices. We're winning those positions. So I want to in the third segment of this episode, I want to talk about building the future. So we honored our past. We looked at what we're doing now and how can we build on the future. So what does dawah look like in the future? It looks like public policy literacy, right? If we're going to be in the space and we're going to show up in the space to impact housing in our area, housing policy, housing efforts, housing development, economic policy and development, educational development in our community, then we must understand policy. We must become literate of public policy, the framework, the process, understanding how local government works. What shapes it? What informs it? How can we participate? How do we get involved in the public policy debate and discussion? Not only at the local level, but at the regional and state and even federal level, right? We need to understand all of those processes and how the federal policies trickle down to the local level and impact the local policy, right? We need to understand public, we need to become literally on public policy. Civic training, right? Training our young people to start thinking about how they get involved civically in politics, in policy, in housing, in all of these areas that impacts our quality of life. Not only civic training for our youth, but civic training for ourselves and our leaders around these similar areas. How do we develop public comments when an issue come up at the state, when an issue come up at the federal level? How do we provide public comment to rulemaking, to changes in policy, to a new policy? How do we make it known what is our priorities in these policies? So we need training, civic training on how to respond, how to get involved, how to make public comment in these areas. Media presence, right? Telling our own story. And in the Muslim Journal, it is our infrastructure to be able to tell our story. So we need to support the Muslim Journal. Get a subscription if we don't have a subscription, right? They have various ways in which we can subscribe to the Muslim Journal. You can get the physical paper or you can get the digital format. I get the digital format. And I'm encouraging everyone that is listening to this program that if you do not have a subscription to the Muslim Journal, we should get a subscription to the Muslim Journal, because that is our media outlet to be able to uplift, tell, and amplify the voices of our community. Community diplomacy, right? In this interfaith work at the local level, building bridges, right? Across our differences to be able to work together. Because developing and building the community life in which we are describing, it just cannot be the Muslim community doing it, but it has to be a diverse group of similar, like-minded individuals that are willing to work together. Faith-based service models, right? We have this across this country. We have robust examples of faith-based service models, food programs, mental health support, disaster relief, reentry programs, right? For our individuals that are justice impacted, right? Being able to serve others. All of our masjids, I know that all of our masjids have some components of being faith-based service models in their community. So picture a community. See, I always try to give a vision for the future. Picture a community where every masjid has a civic liaison. Every school teaches public speaking and service. Every household understands that presence is power. Presence is where we impact, right? The local decisions that impact our life. Imam Muhammad called us to be builders of society, not speculators, right? Not speculators, but spectators. Not spectators. Not sitting on the sideline and watching life pass us by. But we are to be the builders of society. Dawah is about trying to change people. Well, it's not about changing people. Dawah is not about trying to change people. It's about changing the environments so that people can see Al-Islam lived out loud at its best. Yes, yes, Brother Michael, I see your hands raised.
Yeah, I wanted to wait until you were ready to open up, but I wanted to get in early.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
is this the time for it?
This is a good time, brother.
Allahu Akbar. God is greater. Yes. Assalamu alaikum to you and to the audience. This discussion is very important, but and we only need a few voices to remind ourselves that the leader, Imam Warith Deen Mohammed of his association, pointed to the need in the soul to accept responsibility for community life. And he described the community life, the Muslim community life, in specific terms and with a specific spirit that you're sharing. But the need, and we've got qualified individuals, we just need to give a little more attention to the structuring
Mm,
of ourselves as a Muslim community, autonomous but connected in terms of this vision that we were given by the leader and associating our, we need researchers, we need the think tanks, or we speak on uh, American Muslim 360. We speak on intelligentsia,
mm,
and the focus that the Imam gave us. He said the leadership is in the resourceful men and women. And then behind that, he shared, not at the same time, but on another occasion, he shared that the educated, and I emphasize educated, the educated professionals, and I invite the audience to look beyond lawyers and engineers to see plumbers and carpenters and the like as also educated professionals. The educated professionals should translate their language
mm.
so that the common man and woman can be more productive. Now, I use the example of I'm gonna call him a Renaissance man, Imam Salahuddin Hanif. He grew up in a family. His father was a builder, a carpenter, builder, building structures, and he told his sons, Imam Salahuddin and his three brothers, sons, if you can't see it, you can't do it. And I'll stop with that.
Yes, sir. I think you can see behind me the graphic that has been prominent in the Muslim Journal. And on
Yes,
top of that, it says, "Can New Africa, can you see it?" Right. So, brother, I am 100% agreeing with what you are saying. That there must be a structure that aligns with a vision to be able to promote this way of life and establish this way of life. So, alhamdulillah, and thank you for your contribution.
thank you.
Yes, sir. I just want to make sure I don't see any other hands. Looking in the chat as well. Oh, yes. Yes, Brother Ishmael. Democracy is not a spectator sport. Exactly. That we must be participatory. And I think that's what the Imam basically is saying. That in order to make the changes that are required for this country to live up to its idea, right? Its idea that we must be participatory in that process, that we must show up and be civically engaged, not compromised, right? We don't compromise, our belief systems. We can work within this system. We can change this system to respond to the human excellence, right? And I think what we are seeing, right? I know what we are seeing is a leader, right? And we're seeing this globally, Leaders that lack an understanding and a presence of God in their life. That is what we're witnessing here today. Because to have God present in your life, there's no way that you can drop bombs on an entire population and try to wipe that population out and have no empathy. We can't say we're God-fearing people when we engage in those types of activities. We can't say we God-fearing people if we allow unfortunate in our community to go hungry. We have no empathy. So we're witnessing leadership that lack the presence of God, lack the understanding of God. That is what we're witnessing today. So I just want to close out. I always close out, the episode with some action steps that we can take. And this week, right? This week, let's all of us commit to attend a local city council meeting or a school board meeting. One, to understand how that process works so that we can fully engage the process. I know we're already doing this. We're already volunteering at our local levels to be of assistance and be of a service to others of our community. I know we're already doing that. We had new elections. Well, we had elections yesterday, and potentially new people coming into leadership role. Let's go out and introduce ourselves to these folks so they know who we are. Let's share our Islamic value through service, not debate, through service to others. And for our young people that potentially will be listening to this, I ask our young people to join or form a student government, a civic club, right? And that student club, for lack of a better word, can be established in our masjids, right? For our youth to have a voice in our masjids. We should have a youth advisory board that advises the masjid on youth concerns, right? We struggle to attract young people to our masjid because we have no youth voices in the decision-making process. And we're relying on things that worked for us when we were young people. And we are 2 and 3 and 4 decades away from those young people. So having those young people in our in leadership governing structure provides the opportunity to be able to learn from them what will attract the young people to our masjid. And I just want to close with this for all of us to remember that dawah is presence, it is contributing, and dawah is lived excellence. Lived excellence. Yes, Brother Michael.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Well, our children, our young people, they've left the masjid. Well, thank you so much for sharing that common sense idea where the rubber meets the road.
Yes, sir.
And we need to better utilize, in my opinion, the committee structure that the imam gave us. Also, he mentioned in the 10-year anniversary presentation, he mentioned committees and boards. But the boards have to have the sensitivity that they're assisting the masjid to grow and to be better organized for service, not a contending factor competing with the resident imam leadership. And the resident imam should be inviting more participation from resourceful people. And the resourceful people need to stop waiting on the imam to invite them. The resourceful people need to find uh, each other, make a call. It could be a Zoom call or a call after the Juma or Talim for resourceful people to, and what I mean by that, where in those four areas of institutional development, where do you want to serve? In education, in economics or business, the business life, strengthening that, and that the responsibility is on the Muslims to support good business, especially good Muslim business. And the same for governmental structure. Yes, we need civic engagement, but charity begins at home and spreads abroad. And we got a perfect picture of that in the Latino community. The Asians are more quiet. We know, we were told by Imam Muhammad that groups are competitive, and God tells us that in the Quran. Go is in a race towards all that is good. So we know that ethnic groups, the whole idea, and I'll close with this, the whole idea of racial superiority, color superiority, was to bind those people together with an identity, an ethos. And that's what we're lacking as an African American community. That was conditioned out of us in terms of creating a dysfunctional environment for us that lasted hundreds of years and is still affecting us today. And we
Exactly.
don't have that ethos. What we do have is a lot of individual ideas of how we are to bring forward our Islamic life. Now, that's my opinion, but we need to have more trust and identify who we can work with to establish community life. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Michael. And yes, that was one of the reasons in the future section of this episode, I made the suggestion that we have civic training, right? People need to know why they're serving on boards and committees, even if it's at the masjid, right? They need to know why they're serving on the leadership council in the masjid, or however you make decisions at your masjid. They need to know why and how to be effective in that role, right? So that there needs to be a level of training to be able to train people and get them to a point how to read a budget, how to read the financial report, how to plan, how to uh uh be serve as a committee member.
Yes, it's got to be both. We
it,
need to vote. We need to be on boards in the outer community, but we need to better structure ourselves
I
as
agree.
as Muslim communities.
I agree. And I
Thank you.
think all of us know that when we are assigned or elected into a governing body in the civic space, right? Before you really get involved in that, there's a series of trainings that you must undergo and go through before you become a council member. Let's say of your city council. There's a series of training that they undergo, ethics trainings, all types of training that they have to go through. We should treat our masjids the same way. When we set up leadership boards, when we set up committees, there should be a series of trainings that individuals go through that allows them to understand their roles and responsibilities. That's how we grow as a community. We pass the knowledge and the understanding. And there are a host of guidebooks, modules, online material that can be used to be able to provide that training at our masjids to allow our communities to be able to train themselves on these civic roles and responsibilities, not only external to the masjid, but internal to the masjid in developing the structure in which you were describing, Imam Malcolm. Okay, so I am going to close out with surah from the Quran, from Surah 3, Ayat 110. In this ayat, Allah reminds us that we are the best community raised up for humanity, and that we enjoy what is right, forbid what is wrong, and we believe in Allah. So I just want to close with that, and I pray that everyone finds this episode beneficial, that we begin to work towards establishing the life that we're all called to, right? Because we individually accepted al-Islam. And in accepting al-Islam, we took on a responsibility, right, to build not only the life that is conducive for me to be successful as an individual, the life that is responsible for the community to live up to its excellence as well. So I'm going to close out with that, with that statement, and I greet everyone with Assalamu alaikum. And remember, we are not just honoring the past, we are building the future. And I ask, can we see it? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
I'd like to share with everyone, and greetings of peace, and thank you, Omar Mohammed. I want to share with everyone today at 1 p.m. We will be beginning the strategic planning for CWSC, American Muslim 360, and ask you to join us. And at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., we will be connecting with Sister Station. That is a new day for Al-Islam Community Radio, with William Kareem as executive producer. And then again, 1 p.m., we will be here for 2 hours between the time brackets of 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just check in with us and enjoy as we present and begin with CWSC AM 360 Strategic Planning. And we love to have you join us. Assalamu alaikum.